tank without infantry, moving straight into a trap. We lost a lot of tanks that way. Infantry without tanks, walking straight into a nest that could have been crushed. We lost a lot of men that way. But we learned a lesson, too. We learned that infantry needs tanks, and that tanks need infantry. We learned that when both worked together, the tank got the benefit of the infantry's ability to maneuver, and the infantry got the benefit of the tank's armored firepower. Aimed small arms fire from concealed positions aided the tank. Machine gun and cannon fire aided the infantry. Taken together, that meant greater battle efficiency. We also learned that when both worked together under a single command, the problem of control was simplified. Communication was simpler, organization was simpler, and that meant greater battle efficiency. The upshot was the development of the infantry tank team, a composite unit operating under a single command, a new technique learned in combat. And here it is, 2 tanks with deployed infantry forming the team. A pair of scouts out in front of each tank, 30 to 70 yards ahead. The BAR team on one flank, usually where observation is best. Then the rifle team, placed to favor its fire and maneuver. And finally, the leader, located where he can best control his unit. Here are a few things to remember about our tanks. They can ford a stream up to a depth of 3 feet. They can climb a pretty steep grade, up to 30 degrees. Their heavy armor is in the front and on the turret. 2 machine guns and a 75mm gun on the turret. 1 bow machine gun, and sometimes a flamethrower. Small infantry tank units usually operate in built-up areas, in wooded terrain, or in the jungle. In terrain such as this, tanks can give the infantry plenty of protection. Notice there is no confusion in mounting a tank. 3 men on each side. A system for handling your rifle. Ropes to help you get aboard and stay aboard. Definite positions for each man. First 2 in the center. Second 2 forward. Last 2 in the rear. Vantage points for complete observation in all directions. Communication. The hand signal, signaling the tank to advance and indicating its next position. Then there is the telephone. The tank takes a position that protects you, and the tank commander doesn't have to unbutton to talk to you. If other means of communication fail, here's a field expedient to use in an emergency. The tank is buttoned up. You've lost contact with the tank commander. Just turn the periscope in the direction you want the tank commander to look. Then move to that direction yourself, and you're in contact. Here's still another means of communication between infantry and tanks, an SCR 300. Often one of these is available in the platoon leader's group. Here's a typical example of how the infantry tank team operates. The objective is an enemy position, a machine gun and an anti-tank gun emplaced on this ridge. The intermediate objective is a machine gun emplacement in the woods, here. Behind the line of departure, the infantry tank team is divided into medium tank and infantry squad on the left. Same on the right. Out in front, the leading squad has finished its reconnaissance and is moving out to set up a base of fire, here, to support the action. Finally, platoon headquarters, from which the platoon leader can observe the enemy position. And here it is on the ground. The tank section is well concealed behind the line of departure. The squad designated as base of fire begins to move out. They will set up the base of fire here, in a position to cover both the intermediate and the final objective. And here they come, scouts well out in front. the rest of the squad advancing in a column. Creeping at first, then crawling to the initial position. Once the base of fire is set up, the tanks move out. Then comes the infantry. On approaching the woods ahead, the tanks move into a column. This is the formation generally used in close terrain, such as villages, jungles, and other localities where visibility is limited. A tank always draws fire. To avoid casualties through ricochets, the infantry is well dispersed. BAR team on one side of the tank, rifle team on the other. Taking cover. Rolling to escape gunfire because the enemy aims where you drop. Scouts go ahead, the eyes of the tank, looking for obstacles, for mines, for swamps or ditches the tanks can't negotiate. A mine. The tank is headed straight for it, but not for long. That's how you tell the driver to shift his course. And that's one reason why tanks need infantry. At the end of its first bound, the leading tank will halt to observe. Then the second tank moves into position by bounds under protective fire from the leading tank. The tank commander has a rough idea of where the enemy is, but he's pretty well concealed. Hard to locate exactly, especially when you're in a tank that's buttoned up. So a scout shows the way by firing a smoke grenade. Now the tank knows exactly where to head for. In the infantry tank team, an enemy automatic weapon is usually indicated in this way, or by tracer. And here they are, ready to attack the intermediate objective. The base of fire engages the enemy. The tank on the left opens fire. Now the tank on the right can attack under covering fire from the base of fire and the other tank. And now the assault. One tank moves out at full speed. Tanks always lead when the terrain is favorable and there appear to be no anti-tank guns, mines, or other obstacles. Enemy emplacement is crushed. Then comes the infantry, mopping up with bayonet, cleaning out whatever enemy troops may still be resisting from foxholes or cover. Now the leading tank stops, so that the second tank, which has been supporting the action, can move up too. Once the objective is taken, the order is to consolidate the position. The infantry digs in. The tanks, while supporting the infantry and holding the ridge, move to positions of hull defilade, ready to beat off a possible counterattack. Here's the tank section on the ridge, ready for the attack on the final objective. The base of fire, which has covered the attack on the intermediate objective, now switches its fire to engage the final objective. Again, the tanks don't know just where the enemy is. As usual, he's hard to find. So once again, scouts are out there reconnoitering, looking for the exact positions of those guns. And they've found them. Before the tanks can maneuver, the anti-tank gun must be put out of action. Here again, the infantry can help the tanks, for infantry is a difficult target for the anti-tank gun. Now the tanks, which are almost impervious to machine gun fire, can help the infantry. They attack the machine gun, which is deadly to men on foot. Again, armored firepower overwhelms the enemy. And again, the infantry follows, mopping up. With the final objective taken, the base of fire moves to rejoin the platoon, which is now consolidating the position to meet any possible counterattack. Sectors of fire have been assigned. Tanks have moved to positions of hull defilade. The mission is accomplished. That's the story of the infantry tank team. Here it is in actual combat. The man in the tank fights behind several inches of armor. The infantryman behind an OD shirt. So the tank gives protection which the infantry can't supply. When infantry and tanks fight as a single unit, each overcomes the other's weaknesses. Each benefits from the other's strength. The infantry tank team.